What's up, everybody? Chris Flick here, Chris Flick Podcast, episode number 124. Today's edition, we're going to be talking about nutrition. And as I prepared for this, I was thinking about this great quote by the man, the bishop, Desmond Tutu. He was a theologian. He was an anti-apartheid activist. He was a human rights activist in South Africa during some of their more harsher years. And what he said was, there's only one way to eat an elephant, one bite at a time. Now, we're not going to be eating elephants for nutrition. But what we are going to be doing here is taking that line by Tutu. Think about an elephant. It's going to take forever to eat it, right? But you just take it one bite at a time, one step at a time. You don't try to go from point A to point B in one big swooping change, right? You do it gradually, you do it incrementally, and you do it one bite at a time. So when we talk about this nutrition stuff, you're not going to go from point A to point B in a day. If you do that, you're going to set yourself up for failure. I've seen people that have lost massive amounts of weight and then they gained their weight back and then some, because their methods of losing that weight, 60 pounds in 6 months, something huge like that, it's not sustainable. Those are body in a funk. Once they get off the plane just a little bit, the weight's going to come back on, and it's going to come back on fast. So remember, it's got to be small incremental changes. This whole podcast is hopefully going to give you the opportunity to take a few actionable steps and just try to prove it. I'm not going to be telling you what to eat, but I'm going to try to give you a couple small tweaks here to get you, looking better, feeling better, moving better, sleeping better. Everything gets a little bit better when we start to take care of our bodies and put some good nutritious stuff in here. One thing I will say before we get rocking here is that we have to know where we are right now. One way to do that is just to write down all the food that you eat. Write it down, man, because I know my brain, speaking for myself, it's not going to remember stuff. It's not going to remember the 60 nuts that I ate or whatever. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be some slip-ups here. My brain's not going to remember it, so just write it down, okay? And then you're going to be able to see on paper how much you're actually eating. You might be like, well, I only eat 2 meals a day, but then next thing you know, you got a snack here, snack there, snack everywhere, all right? Maybe you write down what you eat. Then from there, we start looking at this thing. What could we change, right? If you're eating Fruity Pebbles for breakfast and Snickers bars at lunch, one thing we could try to do is maybe avoid some of these detrimental foods, right? We got to eat like a grown-up. I think that's a fair first step. So as we look at our nutrition plan, maybe we decide, let's eat like a big kid, like an adult, not like a little kid, all right? Let's eat like a grown-up. Once you start eating like a grown-up, you got to think about this and give it some time. Give it 4 weeks. Remember the Desmond Tutu quote, right? You got to give it time. Small incremental changes, right? If you have a weight loss goal, say somebody that has to lose a little bit of weight. If you lose a pound a month, that's 12 pounds over the course of the year. If you keep off a pound a month, you'll be 12 pounds lighter, and you did it in a sustainable way. It wasn't a drastic change. It was just it's a quarter of a pound a week. So if you want to drop 10 pounds, just think about it that way. It's 1 pound a month. I think you could do that. If you have a bigger goal, a pound a week is fair. One thing I will say is that try not to exceed 1% of your body weight each week. So if you weigh 200 pounds, 2 pounds a week is a lot to ask for. Don't exceed that, all right? Keep it less than 1% of your body weight. And remember that drastic weight gain thing. We all know somebody, we all heard the story. They lose a ton of weight, they lose 100 pounds, and then they put on 120, all right? You don't want to be that person. One step at a time, one bite at a time. Hashtag remember Tutu. Maybe that's what we got to put on a t-shirt or something like that. So now here we are. Now we're talking. We know where we are. We know what our goal is, right? If you want to lose 10 pounds in a year, pound a month. Bam. That's all it is. So now we're going to avoid detrimental foods, right? We're going to eat like a grown-up. We're not having Fruity Pebbles. We're not having ice cream every day. All right, let's try to be as good as possible for as many days as possible. If you write down what you eat, or you just have a general idea, right? Let's say you have 3 meals and 1 snack, all right? So that's 4 things. 4 times 7 is 28. All right, let's say of those 28 times that you eat, let's try to get let's just say you eat good for 15 of them. All right, next week, you try to eat good for 18 of them. And then the next week, maybe 21 of them. All right, and then maybe you get up to 22, 23, and then you realize, this is a pretty good spot for me right now. You don't have to go 28 out of 28 on your meals and snacks. All right, that's not sustainable. Try to hit about, I'm trying to think of what 80% is. Everybody talks about that 80-20 principle, right? If you're good 80% of the times, 4 out of 5 meals need to be good, healthy, nutritious meals. I think there's a few times, and at least personally, that you can get away with eating a large meal, and that's probably after training. Now, I wrote down here, train like hell and consume food after, all right? Your body, depending on who you talk to, there's this window, post-exercise, 30 minutes to 4 hours. Like, you look this stuff up and you don't know what to believe. All right, but all you got to know is that you should eat a meal afterwards. You just depleted your energy stores. Let's get some food in there, all right? Sounds fair enough, right? So let's say you decide that you're going to have your one big meal after your workout. You got to remember, let's get outside the comfort zone a little bit. Let's train hard. Let's work hard. Let's get a good sweat rolling, all right? More days we can get a good sweat in, I think the better we're going to be. So you train like hell and you eat after. Another time is, I'm a believer in this time-restricted window thing. People call it fasting. I don't give a crap what you call it. All I do is this, is I try to keep all of my meals within a 10-hour window. All right? So if I have something at 7, 10 to, the window's probably 8 to 12 hours, but that sweet spot is 10. So if you have something at 7 a.m., you're going to have your last meal at 5. That's 10 hours. If you decide I want to push off my first meal a bit, then you could have that later meal. My thing is this. I don't want to eat like 2 or 3 hours before I go to bed. So if I'm going to bed at 9, I kind of want to be done eating by 6. There's something about having food in my belly that just doesn't work for me. And if your body's digesting food at nighttime, you're not you're not allowing yourself to rest completely because your body's still at work trying to digest food. All right? So if your body's working hard to digest, it's using up energy. Do you understand that? So don't eat a huge meal before bed. Use that time-restricted eating window. I'm throwing a lot of different ideas at you right now. But as we sum this up, figure out where you are. Figure out what your goal is. Put your goal out there as point B. And then we got to just figure out the small incremental changes to get from A to B. Give yourself time. Every 4 weeks, try something new. All right? Don't try 7 things at once because then you're not going to know what actually worked and what didn't work. Try one thing, give it time, see if it works. If it works, cool, keep it going. Try something else, give it time. Oh, it doesn't work. Cut that out. Make sure you still do what does work. Try something new out. Life is about experimenting and learning what works for you. Everybody's body's different. That time-restricted eating thing might be good for me, but it might be terrible for somebody else. All right? So remember that. You have to try and experiment. Do some things on your own. See what works for you and your schedule. Some people have families that want to eat together at 6:30, and guess what? You could fight your families every night of the week, or you could just decide I'm not going to have breakfast until 10 or 9 so that you can have your meal at 6:30 and still stay within that 10-hour window. Does that make sense? All right? Don't judge every meal. It's not life or death, all right? Just try to be as good as possible with every meal. One thing that I like to do is I like to add stuff into the routine as opposed to deprive everything. So I already talked about avoiding detrimental foods, and if that becomes too much for you, then add a salad. Add a salad. All right? How's that? You're getting some vegetables in. Calories are moderate. All right? Like, if you eat a salad and then after that you want to eat, ice cream and Snickers bars, then I'll be surprised. Because usually doing something good, something healthy, is going to encourage you to continue staying good and healthy, right? These things are called Keystone habits. You take a nice walk before you eat. Are you really going to want to consume a bunch of junk after that? Well, let's say you have a walk planned for after you eat. Are you going to just fill your stomach up with a bunch of nonsense and then go try to exercise? No, right? Not going to happen. So try to add some positive into your life as opposed to just eliminating. All right? This last part is an important one. You cannot depend on anyone. It's you, all right? If you want to eat better, you're going to have to take matters into your own hands. Don't blame other people. Don't make excuses, all right? If you're an adult, make some food for yourself. Maurice is in Long Island. Poor little Chris here had to make some food for himself. All right. What do? Eggs, salad, smoothie / protein shake, whatever you want to call it. That was it every day. Today I had a can of tuna and a bunch of fruit. Let me think. Some other days, what did I do? Ground beef, taco style, things like that. All right. I stay pretty consistent. Salad a day, shake a day, eggs every day. Not every day, but close to every day. And then if I'm still hungry, which usually I'm not, it's so damn hot up here, man, in Pennsylvania right now. It drizzled a little bit, and it was the first time I've seen rain in, I feel like, a good week. Just been so hot, I haven't been that hungry, which is fine. In the meantime, if I do get hungry, I have some snacks, like some nuts. And the other day I got like an Epic bar, just things like that. An Epic is, it was like chicken sriracha, little like meat stick type thing. Anyhow. So what do we got? Where are you right now? Where's point A? Where's point B? How are you going to get from A to B? Small incremental changes. Eat like a grown-up. All right? Give things time. Give it 4 weeks before you change your mind on something. Be patient with it, okay? If training was easy, if losing weight was easy, we'd all be ripped. It's not easy. Just understand there's going to be some challenges. It's not every meal is not life or death. Every meal matters. If you slip up every once in a while, don't beat yourself up for it. Just try to be better today than you were yesterday, right? Every 28 meals or snacks in a week. All right, let's try to be good on 22 to 24 of those bad boys. All right, look at your week. Say you're going out on a Friday. Save that like junk meal, that cheat meal for that Friday, so you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to stress out. You're going out with friends. You can eat what you want. You get that 10-hour window going, time restricted eating. And I would tell you this, your taste buds, man, they start to appreciate food a little bit more once you have deprived yourself of some food. Now, anybody that ever wrestled, man, you had to, make weight, right? So sometimes it involved not eating for a little bit. And after you made weight, you got the food out, and it never tasted better because you're freaking hungry, you're thirsty, and you need to get some calories in you, right? The taste buds get amplified when you don't eat. I like that about the time restricted eating. You look forward to your meal. All right, you're not just stuffing your face all day. Try to keep things in terms of your goals. Just a reminder again, if you're trying to drop 10 pounds, that's a pound a month, okay? And you can even slip up a little bit because there's 12 months in the year, right? Pound a week is fair for a period of time. But just remember, if you do that, that's 52 pounds at the end of the year. And if you have a big weight loss goal, try to keep it at 1% of your body weight or less. If you're 300 pounds, that's 3 pounds a week. 200 pounds, 2 pounds a week. 350 pounds, that's 3.5 pounds a week. All right? Don't exceed 1% because if you do that and you start cutting, 2 to 4% of your body weight, that's just probably not sustainable over the long haul. And that's where we see that rebound effect where people gain a bunch. They have that drastic weight gain post, whenever their routine changes a little bit, whenever they realize my life was not sustainable living that way, I have to make some changes, boom, then the rebound occurs. Lastly, if you are somebody that has things tuned in, let's say you're eating 6 meals a day and you're getting ripped but you plateaued, maybe you do a total contrast for a few weeks. Maybe you do some fasting, maybe you do some time restricted eating, maybe you only eat 1 meal a day. If you go from 6 meals to 1 meal but you still eat a lot of calories, your body's going to be wondering what in the world is going on here. And the opposite of that is true. Say you're eating 1 or 2 meals a day. If you switch over to some sort of bodybuilding method of 6 meals a day, your body is not adapted to that. And because it's not adapted, you might see some progress. You might see some change. All right? Because we like homeostasis in our body. We like things to be the same. We don't like change. So when you throw a curveball at it, sometimes your body responds in a way that you appreciate. All right? Hope you guys like this. If you have some questions, send them over. All right? Eat like a grown-up. Give it time. And take this one bite at a time, man. That's how we make our progress. Hope you guys like this. Peace, everybody.